An Oxygen Health Guide. Chapter 1. Oxygen, the key to life. Oxygen is the best medicine. The human body is composed of 70% 80% water, and water is 89% oxygen by weight. Therefore, oxygen comprises 62% to 71% of the body and is the body's most abundant and essential element. Oxygen is the life force substance of our bodies. The more oxygen you take in, the healthier you are. People who do a lot of aerobics rarely get sick because all that oxygen they breathe in helps keep them strong. Just remember this one thing and live by it: oxygen is the key to a healthy life. Lymph is a colorless fluid that bathes every cell in the body. The body has two circulatory systems, one for blood and the other for lymph. Blood is circulated by the heart. Lymph is circulated by physical exercise. Many tissues depend on the lymph to provide nutrients including oxygen and carry off wastes. If the lymph does not circulate, then the tissues suffocate while stewing in their own acidic waste products, uric acid, lactic acid, etc. High amounts of oxygen in the blood and cells kills germs and destroys tumors. High oxygen in the body creates an environment where disease microorganisms, viruses, harmful bacteria, and pathogens can't live. A lot of evidence shows that hydrogen peroxide therapy has been used in various parts of the world as far back as 170 years ago to heal millions of patients of almost every disease. Don't believe me? Do your own research. I'm just lighting the torch. You do the rest. Food-grade hydrogen peroxide puts oxygen into the body, which helps heal anything. Dilute it in distilled water in the recommended concentration and drink it on an empty stomach. When you breathe, only 15% of the oxygen you inhale is absorbed into the bloodstream. Oxygen must enter the blood and the blood, in turn, needs to deliver it to the cells and tissues of the body. This would kill bacteria, viruses, and tumors. In 1931, Dr. Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize in Physiology for proving that viruses cannot proliferate or exist in an environment with high levels of oxygen because viruses are anaerobic, which means that they occur and thrive in the absence of oxygen. You need to oxygenate the body to prevent and even cure degenerative diseases. Ozone, O3, and hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, are the simplest substances available for effectively oxygenating the body. They dissolve in the body, they both give up the extra oxygen atom in their molecular configuration, thereby producing an oxygen-rich environment in the body. Oxygen in the body keeps a person healthy, but many people don't get enough in daily life. They're not physically, so they don't breathe enough in. The air could be polluted. Trees breathe in the carbon dioxide we breathe out, and they provide oxygen in return. Fewer trees mean less oxygen for us to breathe. Water is chlorinated and delivered in pipes. The way we cook and overprocess food drastically reduces their oxygen content. Hydrogen peroxide therapy helps keep the brain alert and slows down the detrimental effects of aging. The main function of blood cells is to distribute oxygen to the body, but if we overeat, these cells have to remove the food rather than supply the body with oxygen. As we continue to overeat, our bodies never have the opportunity to rid themselves of stored toxins. Also, the foods we often eat are overprocessed, thereby containing low amounts of essential fatty acids which are critical to the body's ability to produce oxygen. 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide, although approved by the FDA for use in the production and packaging of foods, is toxic for human consumption at that concentration. However, when diluted sufficiently in water, it oxygenates the body. Use 3 drops of 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide in 6 to 8 ounces of water. Eat basic foods and be physically active enough to breathe in large quantities of oxygen, which kill all the poisons in your body. When your cells are constantly deprived of oxygen, you create an environment in your body that is susceptible to disease because disease microorganisms are anaerobic. They occur and thrive in areas with low levels of oxygen. Ed McCabe, Flood Your Body with Oxygen, Therapy for Our Polluted World, 6th edition, Miami Shores, Florida, Energy Publications, 2003. Dr. David G. Williams, The Many Benefits of Hydrogen Peroxide, July 17, 2003. Peroxide of hydrogen as a remedial agent, Journal of the American Medical Association, March 4, 1988, Volume 259, Number 9, page 1279, and March 3, 1988, Volume X, Number 9, page 262265. Hydrogen peroxide mediated killing of bacteria, Molecular and Cellular Biochemistry 49, 100, and 43149, 1982. Hydrogen peroxide release from human blood platelets, Biochemica et Biophysica Acta, 718, 1982, p. 2125. Edward H. Goodman, M.D., The Influence of Hydrogen Peroxide on Hydrochloric Acid Secretion, Pennsylvania Medical Journal, 1910, Volume XXXIX, Volume 13, of the journal p. 339342. Oxygen Therapy Info. Viruses are anaerobic. They cannot live in oxygen. Insufficient oxygen is the link to all disease. Oxygen is the key to life. Blood brings oxygen to every part of the body to replenish it. Wheatgrass has been touted as a powerful therapy because chlorophyll, which is the lifeblood of plants, replicates blood in the human body and brings oxygen to the many different parts of the body, thereby healing and strengthening them. You can never get enough oxygen. Oxygen strengthens the healthy parts of the body and destroys the sickly, weak, tumorous parts. People who do lots of aerobic exercise are usually quite healthy because of all that oxygen they breathe in, which flushes all the toxins out. Oxygen therapy is an all-purpose therapy. It has been touted as a cure for just about everything. Read the experimental literature about it. It neutralizes virtually all toxins that can damage the immune system. The problem is that hardly anyone has ever heard of it, and the mainstream medical establishment tries to keep it from being used widely because they're afraid that it would be so effective that it would cut into their profits. It can't harm you. You can't overdose on oxygen. It's just air. Drugs, surgery, and conventional medical treatments have many side effects, but ozone therapy doesn't. Oxygen can't be patented, which is why the big medical companies don't promote it. They can't make a healthy profit off it. The underlying assumption of oxidative therapy is that all sickness has some basis in that person's blood being deficient in oxygen, whereas a healthy person has an abundance of oxygen. The more oxygen you take in, the better off you'll be. This is one of the reasons I run a reasonable distance every day. Get as much oxygen into your blood as you can any way you can. It will help your body tissue stay strong while flushing out all the toxins. It has been proven that harmful bacteria and cancer cells cannot live in oxygen, so there's your cure for cancer and many other diseases. Refer to the 1931 and 1944 Nobel Prize winner Dr. Otto Warburg. See what he won the Nobel Prize for, that ozone kills disease cells. Dr. Warburg stated that, cancer, although it is a very complex disease, with many contributing factors and cofactors, it has only one primary cause. That cause is the replacement of normal oxygen respiration of body cells by an anaerobic, oxygenless, cell respiration. Once the level of oxygen in a cell drops below 60% of its normal level, the cell switches to an inferior method of ADP bioenergy production called fermentation, which produces byproducts which are the catalyst for parasites and diseases. Cancer is a systemic disease. You can't eliminate it by cutting out a part of the body. You have to treat the whole system, and a great way to do it is through oxygen/ozone therapy. Oxygen therapy works by stimulating the production of white blood cells which fight infection and kill viruses. The main things that oxygen does are: helps oxygen-rich blood get to the cells where it heals and strengthens them. Oxygen kills viruses, toxins, tumors, parasites, cancer, and other diseases in the body. Oxygen therapy speeds up the healing process. Oxygen helps you lose weight by making the body better at burning food as energy. Oxygen is part of the chemical process necessary to turn food and fat into energy. Oxygen builds sharper brain function. Oxygen therapy slows the aging process. It extends your lifespan. Oxygen therapy helps increase physical strength, health, vitality, and endurance. We got so oxygen deficient because of the lifestyle of the modern world. In biblical times, there are references to people who lived for hundreds of years. Some people theorize that this is because the oxygen content in the air at that time was 50% or more. Now, it's about 20%, less in some big cities because of pollution. We've polluted the air with all kinds of chemicals. We eat junk foods and fast foods which are dead food which strain our bodies. We don't exercise like the people in the past who did physical labor all day long. Some people never go outdoors to get fresh air and sunshine. They work in a building then drive home in a car, drive to the grocery store and that's it for them. Heavy metal toxicity interferes with our ability to absorb oxygen. Smoking destroys oxygen. We take all kinds of so-called drugs that use us massive amounts of oxygen to process in our bodies. We are overdrugged. Drugs are not the natural way to heal. You have to treat your entire body, not just take drugs and think they will heal you somehow. On top of all that, modern society is geared for a fast pace, therefore it's stressful if you buy into it. Point blank, for optimal living, we need more oxygen than our bodies are getting. There is a direct relationship between how much oxygen you regularly take into the quality and quantity of your life. The more you take in, the more vital you'll be. The less you take in, the sicker you'll be. Oxygen therapy is completely safe. Fighter pilots work in an oxygen-rich environment every time they fly. They're healthy. Dr. Otto Warburg said that the primary cause of most diseases is hypoxia, which is oxygen starvation at the cellular level. Simply type his name into a search engine and see what this ozone therapy pioneer has to say. Bacteria and viruses are almost all anaerobic. Anaerobic means these microbes cannot live in oxygen. Surround these poisonous cells with oxygen and they all die, including HIV. In Greek, ozone translates into the breath of God. Unless your body rids itself of toxins at 100% efficiency, some waste is left behind, still in the body. Over time it accumulates, setting the stage for diseases to occur. This is the cause of virtually all disease. Get oxygen/ozone therapy. Our normal cells surround themselves with a protective coating that primitive disease-related bugs, germs and even cancer cells do not have. Oxygen seeks out anything that is not a normal healthy human cell to oxidize. It kills bacteria, viruses. Dead, dying, deformed, mutated or diseased cells. The FDA won't approve medical-grade ozone generators, so you have to buy them underground. Ozone therapy info. Ozone is one of the biooxidative therapies. Ozone, O3, is made up of 3 atoms of oxygen. It's not that hard to induce the chemical process of oxidation whereby one of these atoms breaks away from the other 2 to form regular oxygen, O2, and a singlet oxygen atom, O1. This process of oxidation is said to have amazing curative powers. Ozone can be produced through such actions as sparking, the use of ultraviolet light, or with cold plasma ozone production. The cold plasma method is the best way to produce large quantities of ozone, but good quality, large-size cold plasma ozone machines are not legally sold in the United States, so you either have to order them out of the country or buy them in the guise of another novelty gadget. Smaller cold plasma ozone generators can be easily purchased in the US, often in the guise of water purifiers. Cold plasma ozone generators produce ozonated water, which some people believe have curative and vitality-enhancing powers when you drink it and use it to wash yourself. The theory is that when you drink ozonated water, the ozone in it gets into the bloodstream as it passes through the stomach and small intestines, which provides more oxygen to the inner parts of the body, which is all good for healing and vitality because oxygen vitalizes tissue and kills off toxins. Ozonated olive or vegetable oil is a product that you could make yourself or buy in a few select places. In a bucket or tub of oil, you simply run ozone through for at least several days for up to 2 weeks until the oil is eventually saturated with ozone. Then you can use it as a skin cream to apply on the body for general health, or apply it on or over the diseased parts in the body. Autohemotherapy/fractionalization/autohomologous immunotherapy is the process of removing about a pint of a person's blood, running ozone through it, ozonating it, then returning it into the body of the patient. It works, but it's rather limited in the amount of ozone applied. Ozone can also be applied by a dialysis method. Blood comes out one arm, goes into the machine for ozonation, then returned back into the body through another tube while more blood is pumped into the machine for more ozonation. Ozone injection is a technique whereby ozone is directly injected into the bloodstream of the patient. Ozone bagging is a technique where a bag of ozone is put on the skin for transdermal release. Some people inhale pure ozone out of a tank. If you're wealthy like a certain pop star, you can have a room or a bed set up such that the air in it is pure ozone. epa.gov/iaq/pub/ozonegen.html, ozone generators. Ozonetherapy.co.uk. Hyperozone therapy. Box 126. Delano, Minnesota 55328. Oxytherapy.com. Info on oxygen therapy, case histories, etc. Intravenous ozone. Intravenous ozone reduces the odds of dying from any of the serious viral diseases. Take the patient's blood out into a bottle, ozonate the blood in the bottle and flow the blood back into the person. Some alternative medicine doctors do this. Singlet oxygen therapy. Single atoms of oxygen can be broken off from the compound hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, which, when chemically treated, breaks down into water, H2O, and a singlet oxygen molecule, O1. Ozone, O3, can be broken down into oxygen, O2, and a singlet oxygen molecule, O1. This singlet oxygen atom is said to have highly reactive properties such that when it is released into the human body, it oxidizes the molecular structure of toxic cells from bacteria to cancer. It breaks them down and they are flushed away. The singlet oxygen consists of an oxygen molecule containing more energy than the oxygen we usually breathe. This singlet oxygen acts as a destructive agent in the cell. It not only acts against cancer but any toxin in the body. aacrjournals.org/cgi/content/abstract/12/23/7132, monitoring of singlet oxygen is useful for predicting the photodynamic effects in the purpose, singlet oxygen, 102, generated in photodynamic therapy. Answers.com/topic/singlet-oxygen. Breathing.com/articles/oxygen-therapies.htm. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/singlet_oxygen. Biooxidative therapies. Some bacteria and viruses thrive where there is little oxygen. Healthy cells are strengthened by oxygen, so beyond going outdoors and getting fresh air into your lungs, there are some therapies that put oxygen into the body through various means, namely biooxidative therapy and hydrogen peroxide therapy. Some of these methods are: intramuscular injection, intra-articular injection, around the joints, rectal insufflation, up the ass, ozone bagging, bag of ozone on the skin for transdermal release, fractionalization, autohomologous immunotherapy. Some of the patient's blood or urine is removed from his body, infused with oxygen/ozone and put back in. Ozonated water, used to either wash wounds or the body and also drunk for the health effects. Ozone oil. Olive oil is treated with ozone then applied on the skin. Dangerous uses of ozone are injection into a vein and direct inhalation of it. Hydrogen peroxide therapy involves either bathing in a concentration of it, having it enter the body intravenously, or having it injected into the joints. Some people drink a bit of it to help relieve arthritis and help with other major diseases. Hydrogen peroxide therapy info. Hydrogen peroxide puts oxygen in your body. It doesn't harm good bacteria or good cells because they're aerobic, which means they flourish in oxygen-rich environments. Disease-causing bacteria are most often anaerobic, which means they thrive where oxygen is not present, so hydrogen peroxide works to wipe them out while not affecting aerobic cells. Your white blood cells produce hydrogen peroxide, which is H2O2, water with an extra oxygen molecule in it. This is the latest holistic germ fighter, better than antibiotics they say and much cheaper. I've searched for a lot of medical knowledge in obscure places and I've found a lot of articles praising hydrogen peroxide as a great healer. It gives the body a high concentration of oxygen so that diseased cells die and normal cells are revitalized. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, is simply water with one extra oxygen atom. When it is absorbed by the body, it releases that extra atom into the blood, thereby creating a flood of oxygen. At low concentrations like under 5%, hydrogen peroxide that you can buy at the local drugstore is great for cleaning your body externally, washing the skin and face with it and even rinsing the mouth with it like a mouthwash because it contains oxygen, which is a great oxidizer that destroys toxins, germs, and dead tissue. Be careful of using higher concentrations as they could burn the skin and mouth. You can use food-grade hydrogen peroxide to help clean you out internally. 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide is available both at farm supply stores and online over the internet. Some people inject a bit of food-grade 35% hydrogen peroxide right into a cancerous tumor. They might also inject a bit directly into the bloodstream or drink a little bit that's properly diluted with water or some other liquid like apple juice. Hydrogen peroxide is an inexpensive treatment that the advocates swear by, but the conventional medical industry tries to scare people off from using it. Based on what I've read, it sounds pretty miraculous because it adds oxygen to the body, which helps to kill bad bacteria while helping the good bacteria in the body grow. Our white blood cells, which are the disease fighters, make hydrogen peroxide to oxidize any offending bacteria and foreign particles. Our bodies use hydrogen peroxide for a number of beneficial chemical reactions throughout the body. The friendly bacteria that live inside our colon and vagina are classified as aerobic, which means that they flourish in high oxygen environments such as in the presence of oxygen-rich H2O2. Most types of harmful bacteria like cancer cells are classified as anaerobic, which means they can't survive in the presence of oxygen, which equates to high amounts of hydrogen peroxide. The general consensus is that hydrogen peroxide is safe, easily available, inexpensive, and loaded with oxygen, which can help you get your body healthy and vital. Our oxygen needs are not being met. Hydrogen peroxide is one way to get oxygen into your body. 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide is the only type recommended for internal use, which means to drink it. It is used in the commercial production of foods. It must be handled carefully because direct contact will burn the skin immediately. Dilute it before you use it. The recommended way is to buy an eyedropper and put a few drops into a cup of juice or non-chlorinated water several times a day, gradually increasing the dose. If you want to use 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide to wash yourself, as a mouthwash or an enema, dilute in 10 parts on non-chlorinated water and you can use it like that. Do your own research before trying to drink hydrogen peroxide or inject it into yourself. Raw milk contains high amounts of hydrogen peroxide. One of its main functions is to stimulate the immune system. It's inexpensive and safe to use, so why not try to maximize your health any way you can? A pioneer in the use of hydrogen peroxide therapy is Richard Wilhelm. During the 1940s, he created educational concern for hydrogen peroxide, ECHO, to spread the word about the numerous benefits of hydrogen peroxide therapy. In the 1950s, Dr. Reginald Holman conducted experiments involving the use of 0.45% hydrogen peroxide concentrations added to the drinking water of rats that had cancerous tumors. The tumors completely disappeared within 15 to 60 days. Simply brushing your teeth with a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution prevents gum disease but also whitens teeth and fights cavities. Refer back to the biooxidative section for more information. H2O2.com, H2O2-4U.com, H2O2HYDROGENPEROXIDE.com, H2O2MEDICALMIRACLE.com, H2O2OXYTECH.com. How to use hydrogen peroxide. There are different grades of hydrogen peroxide. 3% pharmaceutical grade. This is the hydrogen peroxide that's available at your local drugstore. It is for external use only and should not be ingested because it contains a number of stabilizers including acetanilide, phenol, sodium stagnate and tetrasodium phosphate. 6% beautician grade, used by hairstylists to bleach hair, not to be ingested because it contains stabilizers as well as bleach. 30% reagent grade, used in scientific experiments, contains stabilizers and is not for internal use. 30 to 32% electronic grade, used to clean electronics, not for internal use. 35% technical grade, similar to reagent grade but it is more concentrated and contains phosphorus to neutralize chlorine in the water that is added to dilute it. 35% food grade, this type of hydrogen peroxide is commonly used in the production of dairy products like milk and eggs. You can buy it pints, quarts, gallons, and drums. It's the only safe type of hydrogen peroxide to ingest. Buy it at your local alternative drugstore. For more information on or find it on a search engine by using the key term 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide. If you plan to ingest hydrogen peroxide, buy some 35% food grade formula which is quite cheap. At this strength, it will burn your skin if you spill any and it is flammable. Use an eyedropper and put no more than 3 drops in 6 to 8 ounces of distilled water, not chlorinated or juice. You can do up to 60 drops a day, but if you are in good health, 6 is enough to help keep you vital. Store it in the refrigerator or the freezer. Get a little glass bottle with an eyedropper cap. Put some H2O2 in there that you take out in the eyedropper for your daily dose. It has a bleachy aftertaste. Take it on an empty stomach. You may experience symptoms including nausea, fatigue, diarrhea, and cold or flu-like symptoms as your body attempts to expel the bad cells that the oxygen has killed. Your body is ridding itself of disease and toxins. Some trained physicians intravenously inject hydrogen peroxide. Find a biooxidative therapist to do this for you. Intravenous injections of hydrogen peroxide have proven particularly useful in treating emphysema. Go to the International Biooxidative Medicine Foundation. You can make a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution by mixing 3% 35% food-grade H2O2 with 97% distilled water, then use it to absorb through your mucous membranes, your skin and your mouth. You can brush your teeth with it and wash with it. If you're really keen, you can do an enema with it. You can warm it up and soak your feet in it. You can put it on cuts and acne. You can put it in a nasal spray bottle and breathe it in. You can add it to a vaporizer or humidifier. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy info. The theory is that regular oxygen can speed up the healing process and add to overall general vitality, so the therapy is to add it in higher than normal concentrations to the body. Oxygen therapy is a process whereby oxygen or ozone is either injected into the body via needle through the rectum or vagina, inhalation through the lungs, through the skin, subcutaneously, or some blood is taken from the body, ozone mixed in and the blood re-injected back into the body. This procedure is thought to cure many diseases via the oxygen/ozone killing off the many toxins in the body. Research is currently being conducted regarding the use of ozone therapy in AIDS treatment. I've even heard parents of special needs kids say it's good to purify the brains of their children and heal them. Very briefly, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a process whereby oxygen can be fed to the cells in the body faster than the body can supply oxygen through its blood. Hyperbaric oxygen chambers are traditionally used for rapid detoxification in poisoned patients and also for new stroke victims. New stroke patients that are given hyperbaric oxygen treatment within the first 36 hours after a stroke have less injury than other stroke patients. The oxygen goes to the brain and nullifies the oxygen deprivation the stroke caused. HBOT is an effective treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning, decompression sickness, poisoning, severe viral and bacterial infections, broken bones, gangrene, multiple sclerosis, strokes, head injuries and severe burns. The process involves sitting or laying in an oxygen chamber for a few hours for several treatments. If you have one of the above-mentioned illnesses, ask your doctor about it. Although popular in Japan, it is a relatively obscure treatment with only about 400 chambers in the US. Books about hyperbaric oxygen therapy are at number 615.836 or RM666 at the library. hbotofaz.org, HBOT of Arizona, breathing 100% oxygen under pressure aids almost all cancer treatments. The links page on this website lists hyperbaric oxygen clinics in the United States. hboinfo.com, San Diego Hyperbarics. Hyperchamber.com. CarolinaCenter.com, Ozone Hydrotherapy. WisconsinHyperbarics.com. Hyperbaric.com. Hyperbaricoxygen.com. Hawk Progressive Medical Centers. Unit 621, POG 8000. Abbotsfong, BC V256H1. 888-881-2284. HawkHealth.com. Brain Injury Treatment Center, uses hyperbaric oxygen therapy. American College of Hyperbaric Medicine. Ocean Medical Center. 4001 Ocean Drive. Number 105. Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida 33308. 800-552-0255. 954-771-4000. OceanHBO.com. Europa Institute of Integrated Medicine. Number 201. 406 Ave. Paseo de Tijuana. Tijuana, BC, Mexico. 909-336-1918. Hyperbaric Service. Larchmont, New York. 800-559-6863. Hyperozone Therapy Medicine Newsletter. Box 61767. Dallas, Texas 75261. Hyperozone Therapy. Box 126. Delano, Minnesota 55328. Oxytherapy.com. Info on oxygen therapy case histories, etc. Hyperozone Therapy International Ozone Association. 83 Oakwood Avenue. Norwalk, Connecticut 06850. International Biooxidative Medicine Foundation. POB 891954. OKC, Oklahoma 73189. 405-478 IBM. Photodynamic Therapy Info. Photodynamic therapy is to apply light-sensitive substances at cancer sites to increase oxygen and kill cancer cell death. Reference.com/browse/wiki/singlet_oxygen. subtleenergies.com/orms/tw/singlet.hdm. Food high in oxygen content. One form of oxygen therapy is to eat food high in oxygen content. enzymescontactplus.com/cellfood.hdm. cellfood.contactplus.com. Drinking ozonated water. An alternative to using ozone without the necessity of blood infusion is drinking ozonated water. Ozonated water is water that has been infused with ozone via an ozonator. This is an efficient way of oxygenating the body and accelerating the healing process. Ozonating water eliminates 99.99% of bacteria and viruses in it. Research shows that drinking ozonated water has contributed significantly to the healing of many medical conditions. There are many inexpensive water ozonators on the market. ewater.com, drink water to be healthy. The body is 98% water. If you keep it stagnant, it's like a lake, toxins build up. If you keep it moving by constantly drinking water which flushes out through urine, it stays healthy. I drink at least 2 liters of water a day through what used to be called Kool-Aid. Now it's called liquid sweetener, little bottles of liquid Kool-Aid. Squeeze them into water. For more sweetener, I add stevia, a liquid sweetener. Oxygen Health websites. Applydozone.com. cure.co.za/oxygen.hdm. curetoday.com. oxyearth.com. oxygenamerica.com. oxygenhealingtherapies.com. oxygenhealth.com. oxygenhealth.com. oxygentherapies.com. oxygentherapycentre.co.uk, oxystore.com, oxyvita.us, Oxyvita powder/solution instant blood substitute in powder form.